Hi guys. So in the last session we discussed about 5G throughput optimization basics, and we covered the data scheduling part, and we ended up saying that the data scheduling actually works hand in hand with block error rate targets. So in this session we'll talk about blur targets, whether we should have a fixed blur target or a variable blur target, should it be higher or lower, what type of blurs are there, and what are their impacts. So let's start. Firstly, let's understand the types of blurs, for instance. So what is blur? Blur is block error rate. It is simply put, you can just say the decoding failure rate of transport blocks. So each time the GNodeB gets some data, it needs to send it to the mobile. It sends a transport block. So it makes a transport block and sends the transport block filled with data to the UE, to the mobile. And if the mobile is unable to decode it, then it sends a HARC NAC, which is a negative acknowledgement. And if the GNodeB gets a NAC, it sends a retransmission. If it gets a NAC again for the retransmission, it sends another retransmission. So it can send multiple retransmissions that are usually configurable in the vendor. So it can be 3, 4, 5, 6. So more retransmissions you have, that means you have more possibility and probability that the user will be able to decode the data successfully within the retransmissions. But it will mean that you will have more retransmissions, so it will mean you will have more overhead. So it's a compromise again. But let's understand the concept of blur and I blur and R blur. So what is that? This one, when you have the first initial transmission and the UE cannot decode it, so the initial NAC that happens for the initial transmission, this is where we call initial block error rate, or I blur. So this is the where we peg the I blur. If after that the GNodeB keeps retransmitting and the mobile keeps saying that it cannot decode, or it keeps sending NACs for all of them, then after all the retransmissions have been processed, and after all the retransmissions have been sent by the GNodeB and all of them failed, then we peg an R blur, which is also called remaining block error rate or residual block error rate. So it is something that means that all the retransmissions have already happened, and even then there was a decoding failure, so we have a R blur. Now what are the concepts about blur control? All the blur control concepts, all the blur control target are applied to I blur. So when we say I blur target of blur is 10%, that means I blur target is 10%. The R blur cannot be 10%. If it is 10%, that means that you have a very bad radio conditions, and you might also have a very bad scheduling conditions as well, and maybe a very bad scheduler as well. That means that if this is 10%, that means that this might even be 30 or 40%. So it's this one should be very low. Ideally, if this is 10%, this should be less than 1%. So that is what usually how it works out. Now this is the basics about I blur and R blur, and our all scheduling algorithms, they actually work on the I blur. So moving forward, I blur is what we will discuss about. Okay. Now should we have a fixed target or a variable target? So that for that to understand that, let's take an example. Let's say I have two mobiles. This green mobile is getting a large amount of traffic. This yellow mobile or is getting a very small amount of traffic. Now what will happen if this yellow mobile is not able to decode this? It will send a NAC, and if it sends a NAC, then the GNodeB will send a retransmission. So over here, this patterned yellow is the retransmission. So we can see that a small amount of resources are allocated for this mobile for the retransmission. But what will happen if this mobile is unable to decode this large traffic transport block? So it will send a negative acknowledgement for that, and then the GNodeB will send a retransmission of the whole block for this mobile, right? So what will happen? That it shows that this retransmission will take lots of resources, right? that means it will take a lot of overhead. So the idea here is that if a mobile is using large amount of resources, then the retransmissions for that mobile will create more overhead in comparison to a mobile that is using a small amount of resources. So in other words, I can say that we should have a lesser block error rate for users which are using large amount of traffic, and we might have a higher block error rate for users which are using small amount of traffic, because their retransmissions will not cause that much of an overhead, while the retransmissions of this large chunk of data will cause much more overhead. So this concept actually gives us an idea about the variable blur target. So let's check it out with this scenario here. Now I have three mobiles. This one is in, let's say, good radio conditions, and it is using streaming services. Let's say it is watching a YouTube video. So if it is watching a YouTube video, that means it is downloading a lot of data. So traffic type, we can say large size. This one is somewhere in medium radio conditions, and we can say it's browsing. Let's say it's going through Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. So even then it is not as big amount of data as we are using a streaming a YouTube HD video, but it's more like a medium sized traffic. So it will be somewhere over here. Now let's say I have one user, let's in these bad radio conditions, and it is using small amount of traffic. Let's say sending WhatsApp. So the traffic size will be small. Now putting the same knowledge that we discussed in the previous slide, a user which is using streaming YouTube large packet size, we should not have lots of retransmissions for this user. So the blur target of less than 10% should be used for such users which are using big packets or large size traffic. Similarly, these users which are somewhere in between, they're not really large, they're not really small, they're more like a bursty traffic. So a blur target of default 10% is okay. While these users which are at using a smaller packet size, let's say WhatsApp, so a blur target of 10% or higher is also okay. Now what if we look at it from another point of view? If you're using WhatsApp and you have, let's say, a bit higher blur target, a bit more retransmissions, so what will happen is the packet might get a bit delayed because of retransmissions, right? So if for this packet I am getting, let's say, 5 retransmissions, and for this packet I am getting only 1 retransmission, so this packet might be delayed a bit more because the retransmissions will take time. Each retransmission takes, let's say, 8 milliseconds, so it might go up to, let's say, 40 milliseconds. But if you're using a WhatsApp message, even if the message is delayed by 1 second, it doesn't really matter, right? You get your message in, and your user will never perceive a delay of 1 second, so it doesn't really matter. While in this case of YouTube, if you have retransmissions, let's say if you use something of a higher blur target and you have 5 retransmissions for every after every 5 or 6 packets, what will happen is that the YouTube video will start to decrease its quality, because YouTube video, if it is at application layer, it will find out there are lots of retransmissions which will increase the RTT, which can cause duplicate acknowledgements, and in that case what will happen is that the YouTube might actually reduce the video quality. If you're using a, say, 4K, it might use to go down to 1080, for instance. So this kind of concept can happen. So what the bottom line is that if you are using large packet services, then a lower blur target is good. If you're using small packet services, then a higher blur target might be better. If you're using medium services, then a smaller then a default blur target of 10% might be okay. So similar concept, it can also be used based on radio conditions. If you are in good radio conditions, you can use much higher MCS, which means that you can use a much higher transport block. So the same concept of lower blur can be applied, and vice versa. If you're using if you're in bad conditions, you can actually only support a lower MCS, and that means a lower MCS means a much smaller transport block size. So a higher blur target has been seen that it provides better gains because you can actually increase the MCS. If you increase the MCS with a higher blur target, that means the TBS size, the transport block size, will also increase. That might also actually reduce your segmentations as well. So in a nutshell, again, blur targets can be used as a default value of 10%, but they can be used as variable services, as variable targets, depending on, let's say, different cell to cell criteria as well. For instance, if one cell it has lots of users with high transport block size, or in cell center, you might actually use a lower blur target. Another cell that might have lot of users in cell edge or using lower MCS or small packets, you might use a higher blur target, and you will see that you will correspondingly get better results in comparison to a default generalized blur target everywhere. So hopefully that is good. In the next session, we'll talk about the scheduling of the control part of the system, that is the PDCCH, and how it is different than the data scheduling, and how it is different than the blur, and what is the difference of PDSCH blur and PDCCH blur, and how it impacts the throughput. So stay tuned and have a nice day.